So I don't remember where I was going with the megadosing stuff in the last video, but there should be 3 or 4 other videos that talk about these sinus natural remedies that have worked for me, and the ones that didn't. I think just to recap, what I wanted to discuss, or what I wanted to leave you with, is just because some of this stuff, like you've seen in the other videos, hasn't worked for me, doesn't mean that it won't work for you. Everyone is different. Not everyone knows if there's sinus allergy infection, there's sinus infections, if you have a full-blown infection from sinus allergy drainage and stuff like that. Not everyone knows if it's caused from, viruses or maybe fungi or funguses. Is funguses even a word? So I don't want to deter anybody from trying anything. Just looking at this looks absolutely ridiculous. If you can imagine that I've tried more than this, and this is just what I could find that I still have. This is kind of insane that I've tried this much stuff. The one thing that I haven't talked about is antibiotics. So in the past, the only way I would get sick is from sinus infections. And over time, I realized that it's probably not usually caused by coming into contact with a bug. I'm not the type of person that really gets like seasonal flus and stuff like that. But I have taken a lot of antibiotics in the past, and they really don't work. It's kind of like a quick fix, but it doesn't really fix the underlying issue. So one of the things that I've found is I have an issue with some food allergies, or beverage, I guess you could say, beer. I haven't done a specific allergy test for the beer, so I don't know whether it's the yeast, the barley, it could be the wheat. Some beers are a lot worse than others, but I've noticed over time, especially if I take NAC and I do my maintenance dose like I'm supposed to, I don't actually have issues drinking beer anymore. What used to happen, and I never really realized that I had a food sensitivity, is I would go out drinking and I'd have beers, and then the next day I'd be kind of stuffed up and congested and swollen, and then that would lead to some mucus drainage, and then that would lead to postnasal drip, and then getting the tonsils infected or getting the throat infected, or it would get down into my chest, and I wasn't doing anything to, I guess, expedite the process of expelling that mucus, or I wasn't recognizing that there was actually a food sensitivity and taking a precaution or stopping drinking or taking NAC before I drink specifically. And I didn't realize the correlation. And that also happens when I'm here in Florida with the pollen. And I know a lot of people have allergies. I'm not an expert on allergies, but sometimes I don't realize when there's heavy pollen, and then I kind of have like a stuffy nose when I wake up, or if I did an outdoor workout, and then the next thing I know, the following day I'm kind of like stuffed up and feeling a little drowsy, or whatever. It's from the allergies. So I don't know, what's going to be the best thing for you, or different things work for different people, like I was saying. But you can read countless reports, and all I can tell you is what's worked well for me, and that's the NAC, the CBG in the ears, particularly probiotics, whether in the neti pot or the squeeze bottle, the sinus rinse bottle, and then antivirals, which is the olive leaf extract and oregano oil. Those both work really well. And then obviously, I can't really comment in regards to sinus allergy symptoms or sinus infections, but most people are vitamin D deficient because they don't get enough sunlight. I have an issue taking high amounts of vitamin D. It gives me loose stool, and it fucks up my sleep patterns, especially if I don't take it like at 5 in the morning. If I take it later than that, the following night I can't go to bed for some reason if I take a lot of it. A lot of people have had great success with this Lugol solution, which is basically iodine. I guess most people are iodine deficient today in the world, because instead of eating salt that's colored, like a sea salt, a real sea salt, like a Himalayan pink sea salt, there's a different type of iodine or there isn't any iodine in table salt. Like regular table salt is lacking. So I personally didn't feel anything when I supplemented with this. As you can see, I didn't use a lot of it, but I tried it for about a week. I put some in neti pot. Last time I was having issues, I drank some. You just put it in your water, a few drops, whatever dosage you want to do. And usually, actually, I feel pretty good on B-Right, but that's not sinus related. That's for another video. When I have had sinus infections in the past, I've used almost this whole container, which is 80 lozenges. These are zinc lozenges. These work pretty good if you actually have an infection and you can't breathe at night. When you lay down, you suck on one of these and it naturally goes up into the sinuses and cleans things out, or tries to kill bacteria. There's a huge caveat with taking these though, especially taking a lot of them. It completely dulls your sense of taste. You will not be able to taste shit for days. So I actually don't use these too much anymore. They do work pretty well, but I don't like that sensation, and there has been reports of people claiming to not get their sense of taste back. Did I say sense of smell? I meant sense of taste if I said smell. They make you lose your sense of taste. Like you can't taste anything on your tongue, food tastes bland, you don't really desire, like it's, I don't know, it's really weird. I don't care for it, so I don't do that anymore. The only over-the-counter medication that I use anymore is Mucinex. So if I do have a sinus infection, and most of the time if I have a sinus infection now, because I don't get them anymore, as long as I maintain my NAC. The last sinus infection I had, I wasn't, with all supplements, you're supposed to do what they call cycling. So at least 2 days a week you cycle off all supplements so that you don't gain dependency on them. If you're taking things like melatonin so the body doesn't stop producing its own melatonin, there's various reasons why you do that. I don't personally do that with this, and I hadn't been for the last year. I also haven't been really sick in the last year. I don't get sick anymore. So 2 months ago I was feeling kind of weird or whatever. I think I was just eating bad again, not exercising. I was like, oh, maybe I should cycle off all supplements. And I'm like, so I stopped it for 2 months, and then the next thing you know, I was getting sinus infection, or I was getting sick, or whatever. And once that happens, it's a little too late. I mean, you got to deal with the symptoms a lot more aggressively rather than just taking a maintenance dose of NAC once or twice a day all the time. So in that event, the only over-the-counter medicine that I use is Mucinex. And the reason why is because I really just need help. I need that extra oomph to thin out the mucus and make sure that everything drains so I don't have this thick, nasty shit, especially draining into my chest. You don't want to get an infection in your lungs or in your chest and start coughing and all this crazy stuff. It's ridiculous how a sinus infection left unchecked can lead to all those kind of things. Oh, like a UPS package. Anyway, so back on point. That's the only over-the-counter medicine I use anymore. I used to take all kinds of sinus medications. I don't normally now. I just do the NAC, the antivirals, and the probiotic. That seems to work pretty well for me. I do the oil pulling, but for different reasons. That's just for general mouth and gum health. And I think that's pretty much it. Every once in a while, I still will do a sinus rinse with this. I just use a saline packet. If I'm feeling a little frisky, I might put a drop of hydrogen peroxide in there. Maybe a little coconut oil, but the coconut oil will really ruin the bottle, which is kind of like where I'm at with that one. And I think that's it. I've tried more things than this, but I don't remember them or don't have them anymore or couldn't find them. I don't know. If you have any questions, comment below or go to cleverleverage.com and ask a question on my blog. Go to the QOTW page if you want to see me answer a question next week that you have. And until then, have a great one.